I'm going to listen to Messiah. Oh, Messiah, I get it now. Messiah, there you go, coming and going. 10th time I listen to it, and I'm still not 100% sure what it is. It's sort of electronic at the beginning, a little bit more jazzy at the end, some techno, but all very spiritual. That is a word I would use for it. Strange thing to like, but I really like the way the tracks get longer. So you start off on a sort of electronic journey, and it turns into more of a, I don't know, camping in the woods or meditation album. Enjoyable, but maybe a little bit forgettable. I always sort of have to listen to it again to remember what it is. 7 out of 10, but well worth your time. It starts with track 1, Dora. Don't know if it's an ode to the Explorer or not, but it's top quality electronic music, that's for sure. I guess techno, if I had to pigeonhole. Not straightforward and quite unique in its sound. There's a lot more jazz that comes in later, and you can sort of feel that in the background. There's a lot of deeper stuff going on, like the whole of the album. There's a lot going on in the background. One of the few tracks you can bop your head to. Engageable, very listening, and really, really punchy at 3:13. Good way to start an album. I'm in. 8 out of 10. Track 2, Windless, Waveless, the first of 2 with Lido Pimienta, who I've heard of. I did like her album a few years ago. Maybe a little bit more straightforward techno than even the first track. It's the detail that I like on this album. The synths in the background are like, I don't know, Future Sound of London, that kind of hypnotic and dreamy techno sound. I guess it's more for a weed bar in Amsterdam than it is dance floors. There's a little bit of Aphex Twinny in there. It is more ambient work stage. And yeah, just a great old listen. 7 out of 10. Track 3, BE. He's Nicaraguan. I can't say that very well. Canadian apparently, which sounds like a cool combination to me. I would have guessed African. There's some real African sort of tribal feel to this rather than South American, but what do I know? It's a little bit of a move away from the techno into a more sort of you can feel the jazzy, trippy, ambient sound that comes a little bit later. The beat's there, but it's sort of like a raindrop rather than a snare drum. I feel the live instruments for the first time, and the double bass and the drums together, really take us towards something a little bit different. My daughter called this kind of scary, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. She said not a bad thing. Emotive, certainly. And the harder you listen, the more you notice it's that kind of album. You do need to stop and think about it. You can't appreciate it in the background. 7 out of 10. Track 4, To Ya Yo, or something like that. Again with Lido Pimienta, whose album I did like. Miss Columbia, I did just double check, it was called 2020. Great album that I will be digging out again actually, because it's been too long. Sort of a proper song, this one, sort of the only proper song on the album, I'll argue, and an inspirational one too. It threatens to take off a few times, but maybe doesn't in quite the way I want. But again, that Future Sound of London sort of sound is there, especially with her voice. Feels like there's a hit in there somewhere if they let it be. It's really, really good. I like this. And my favourite track to date, sort of song you want to watch the sun come up to. 9 out of 10. Track 5, What Shattering. If Sun Ra made 90s techno, it might sound a little bit like this. I love the one note piano hook. It's straight out of Detroit in 1986 or something. Again, African feeling for me, really uplifting, definitely jazz in there now. The percussion is so multi-layered and deceptively difficult. Music that, if there isn't a God, this sort of might make you believe that there is. There's such spirit in it, uplifting and difficult at the same time, and challenging. It could be like Art Ensemble of Chicago, this bit here, not so much the dancey bits, but just glorious. I think my favourite track. 9 out of 10. Track 6, Ocarina, probably Ocarina. The start reminds me of a sort of slightly more loopy All Night Long by Lionel Richie. It's a bit Mirandering and maybe doesn't do enough for me, saved slightly by the David Sylvian Japan type bass, which is really, really nice. To say that, it's the point in the album where maybe the last 3 tracks are a little bit overlong and a little bit self-indulgent. I prefer the more electronic stuff at the beginning, I think, but still lovely, spiritual, all the beautiful things I said earlier on in the review. 6 out of 10. Track 7, No Trace, more musical landscapes, even getting noisier. Elements of Miles Davis in a Silent Way era, or even a little bit later, Bitches Brew, etc. Pleasant enough, or if not overexciting for me, which strangely enough is how I feel about Bitches Brew, but I love In a Silent Way. Entering into a more ambient world, and any regular viewers will know I'm not a big ambient person really, but again, spiritual, feels like a prayer, put your arms up to the Lord or whoever you look up to. Yeah, heavenly. If this was the music as I entered heaven, I'm not 100% sure if I would be happy or scared, but at least there's music going on, I suppose. Somewhere in between, I guess. 5 out of 10. And the 8th and final track, Abre Camino. The obligatory longer jazz album, mad track, starts off mellow, goes absolutely mad at the end. It's a great record, you know, for a 7-minute snooze potentially. Music to close your eyes to, definitely. You know, you need to know what's going on in the background there. When the Spotify picture of him is in the woods, and you can really feel that nature in the music. Feels a little bit like tuning up though, and maybe not 100% formed to the uninitiated, which I'm probably not. 6 out of 10. So my overall review of Mass Aya, Coming and Going, is that it is spiritual. It is lovely. I like that it's sort of an album of 2 halves as well. The first 3 tracks, there's quite a lot of techno elements, drum beats that are from electronic sources. And the second half seems to be longer songs, more jazzy feel, spiritual feel. It's a really interesting listen. Not one I'm going to come back to though, I think. It's there, it's gorgeous, it's lovely. It's sort of not memorable in a way, and I can't quite put my finger on why, but hey, you know, you can definitely spend a lot worse 38 minutes than listening to this. So give it a go if you want something a little bit different. 7 out of 10.